Tonight's controversial call, driver's licenses for illegal immigrants. You've seen it before. You're going to see it again. It's a natural controversy that keeps on building. That's why we're doing another segment. We've been getting a lot of your emails, many with some very strong views on the topic. We got more on that later. We're going to bring them to you. But first, Fox News senior correspondent Eric Shawn will be here in a moment. But we're going to be first talking to another guest. When the governor, Judicial Watch, a government watchdog group, just filed a taxpayer lawsuit against Governor Spitzer. Now, Chris Farrell is Director of Investigations and Research with Judicial Watch, and he joins me now from Washington, D.C. Chris Farrell, thanks very much. We may have to put off our interview with Eric Shawn because he is on the road, but we thank you for coming. Now, tell us what your grievance is against Governor Spitzer.
If Governor Spitzer wants to change the law, then he needs to do so by following the law. What he's done is attempt to change the rules of the laws by which licenses are issued in New York State by gubernatorial fiat. He lacks the authority to do so. He's acting outside the scope of his authority, and he's violating his own laws by dreaming up these new rules that would give illegal aliens access to and all the benefits of a driver's license in the state of New York.
But this is a state issue. You're not even in New York, right? You're joining us from Washington, D.C. How could you get involved?
Well, because there's citizens in the state of New York who sought our assistance, and in fact, our phone's been ringing off the hook today with folks thanking us.
So New Yorkers are seeking out some legal help so that they can sue the governor.
Absolutely, because what they have is a governor who I think he's used to having the broad discretion of an attorney general and not taking into account his responsibilities as governor with the legislature, county clerks, with the DMV. It's a different set of rules as governor, and he wasn't terribly sensitive to that, and he thinks that he can simply by fiat or by his own stroke of a pen change the law.
So you think he's still thinking like an overzealous prosecutor?
Well, I don't know if you want to use the word overzealous or not, but certainly
it seems to be the word that you wanted to use.
Well, prosecutors enjoy broad discretion in how they carry out their duties and can pick and choose what they elect to prosecute or not. And this is a case where that sort of instinct, I think, has manifested itself.
All right. Now, here is, I'm holding in my hands a summons. I don't know if you can see it, probably not, but it's a legal document. It's a very official legal document that I guess you drew up for one of these people that sought you out, correct?
Correct.
All right, and it is a summons, in addition to other things, but a summons to the governor to have him appear in court and answer certain questions. What are the key questions you'd want him to answer?
Well, he needs to, in fact, both the governor and also the DMV in New York need to explain how they can violate the law by issuing driver's licenses to illegal aliens who do not possess a Social Security number. The key in the state of New York is that the law, the rules for traffic and for licensing require a Social Security number as a means of identifying that the person is lawfully enabled or allowed to have a driver's license. And obviously illegal aliens do not possess Social Security numbers, or at least they shouldn't. And that's part of the problem is if you're issuing licenses to people who are not here lawfully, you're really feeding into the whole document fraud, identity theft nightmare that weakens us from a security standpoint, but also from a fraud standpoint. And the citizens of the state of New York don't need to be subsidizing that kind of criminal activity.
Okay, now, we had on last night a representative from Governor Spitzer's office who said to us that the new federal real IDs, which I'm sure you're familiar with, make it more difficult for them to demand Social Security cards for driver's licenses. Do you think that's true?
Well, whether it's true or not doesn't allow Governor Spitzer to change the rules and start issuing licenses to people who are here unlawfully, and that's the crux of what our lawsuit is about. You know, Governor Spitzer now, I guess, has backpedaled after talking to Secretary Chertoff and has now tried to dream up some other option where he's going to have 2 or 3 different kinds of licenses. And I anticipate that if he goes down that track, undoubtedly he'll be sued by somebody like the ACLU for not issuing the same license to persons who are here unlawfully as to those that are issued to citizens. So he's got himself in quite a quagmire here, and he's done so by not following the law. And that's what we're all about. That's fidelity to the rule of law and having citizens not have their own rights trampled on when politicians attempt to bend over backwards and pander to other groups in an effort to gain support.
All right. Well, we have Eric Shawn with